I'd need to look at all of this pretty carefully. Very carefully. But if I had to make a guess right now, I'd say we could adjust our trajectory. We could fly straight to them.
But we're not going to do that. Just to make it absolutely clear, there's no way we're going to do that. Do I have to spell it out for you? We have a payload to deliver to the heart of our nearest star. We're delivering that payload because that star is dying, and if it dies, we die. Everything dies. So that is our mission. There is nothing, literally, nothing more important than completing our mission. End of story.
He's right.
He's right. Of course I'm right. Is anyone here seriously considering otherwise?
May I put a counter-argument?
No.
Captain? Go ahead. It would, of course, be absurd to alter our trajectory to assist the crew of the Icarus One. Even if we knew that some or even all of that crew are still alive, their lives are entirely expendable when seen in the context of our mission. As are our own lives.
Exactly.
However, there is something on board the Icarus One that may be worth the detour. As you pointed out, Mace, we have a payload to deliver. A payload, singular. Now, everything about the delivery and effectiveness of that payload is entirely theoretical. Simply put, we don't know if it's going to work. But what we do know is this. If we had 2 bombs, we'd have 2 chances.
You're assuming we'd be able to pilot Icarus One.
Yes.
Which is assuming that whatever stopped them completing the mission wasn't a fault or damage to the spacecraft.
Yes.
That's a lot of assumptions.
It is. It's a risk assessment. The question is, does the risk of a detour outweigh the benefits of an extra payload?
Hello and welcome to Still Watching the Skies for August 2025. I'm Robert Reineke.
I'm Natal Morel.
I'm Cody Lang.
Every month we explore the lesser discussed science fiction movies of the past. Some famous, some obscure, some good, some bad, all which we believe will create interesting conversations. That brings us to this month's film, Danny Boyle's Sunshine from, 2007?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cody picked this film, so he's going to give our listeners a roundup on the pertinent facts, a little bit of plot summary, and then we will get on with our discussion. So take it away, Cody.
You bet. Just looking up the year that the film was set in. Yeah, 2007, Sunshine, directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland. I think this is later in their collaboration, if I'm remembering correctly. I think Beach
Beaches,
was one of their first ones. Yeah.
or The Beach, yeah.
Yeah, The Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Not
then,
Beaches
and
is
they,
a very different film.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
And they did 28 Days Later, so this is
Yeah,
their second
right.
science fiction film. Yeah.
Yeah, so the tagline is, at least according to Letterboxd, if the sun dies, so do we. 50 years into the future, and so this is, relative to 2007, so 2057, the sun is dying and Earth is threatened by Arctic temperatures. A team of astronauts sent to revive the sun failed on their mission. 7 years later, a new team is sent to finish the mission as mankind's last hope. The film is, I would say, it's an ensemble cast. It's Cillian Murphy, Rose Byrne, Chris Evans, Michelle Yeoh, um, Benedict Wong, Mark Strong, and then a few others who I'm not too familiar with. Cliff Curtis, Hiroki Sanada, Palemo Beza, Archie McDonald, Sylvie McDonald, Chipo Chung, and Kevin Hudson. I'm just naming them because they're on the list here, and I don't want
Yeah.
if for some reason they're listening, I don't want them to feel like they're less important than Cillian Murphy and Rose
It's
Byrne.
not a big cast list either.
Big softy.
Yeah. So yeah. So the sort of yes, the general plot is that we have the new spaceship is called Icarus 2, and they are going to deliver a payload, a series of nuclear, or like a big ton of nuclear bombs to hopefully reignite the sun and then allow Earth to, continue living. Um, and they are following Icarus One, which was sent 7 years prior, but failed. And the sort of like that's the main plot, but then the sort of, I guess, main conflict is that they pass a distress beacon after Mercury of Icarus One, and so they decide as a group, but really with consulting the physicist who's played by Cillian Murphy, what should they go to the other Icarus to get its payload to increase their chances of reigniting the sun? And this is a bit of sciencey stuff here, but he does some, calculations and he can't really decide based off of the information at hand if the payload they have will actually work. So his, answer is, well, it's really a coin toss if it's going to work or not, and two payloads are better than one, so we should go get to the other ship and get their nukes so that we can have two sets of nukes. Do I have that right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah.
Two coin
So
tosses. One comes up heads, you're good.
yeah. So yeah, and we can get into more about like how that character makes that determination, but because I think it kind of raises some scientific points, although I'm not a physics expert by any stretch of the imagination, so it could just be movie mumbo jumbo, but yeah, so I'll hand it off to you guys, but I've seen this before. I've probably seen it a few times. So what did you guys think? I'll hand it off to Robert first,
Oh,
because
well,
he
it
has
wa-
the Blu-ray.
I have the Blu-ray, and it was the first time watch. So I've had the Blu-ray forever, and I don't know why I hadn't got around to watching it. Maybe because I was too busy with the podcast, and maybe because I figured we'd get around to it eventually. Um, what is a very good-looking film. I feel it's uh, bunch of people have stolen from it, and this kind of we make it so bright you can barely see things at times. Aesthetic that Danny Boyle utilizes, I feel people have picked up on and used. I think most notably in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, but I also would say that even James Gunn kind of picked it up a little bit for his Superman film earlier this year, although maybe not to this extent, but even given that, this is still very much a Danny Boyle film. There's like subliminal fit flashes at points, and uh, stuff may or may not be in focus depending on if you want to be. I don't think Mark Strong is ever in focus, or is that just me?
No, I was going to comment on that a bit actually about like how just yeah, hard to see he is like when he's in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to interpret a little bit, but think that probably helped with him not getting the rating because from what we do see of him, he looks very scarred, and
Hmm.
the climax is very gory, or it could be gory if you could actually see what was happening. Um, but yeah, I think that all that is it's a strong visual one from Danny Boyle, though I don't know if it's necessarily his most uh, coherent storytelling because I feel like some of the characters I feel I know, but a lot of the characters I don't feel I know. I mean, there's basically no backstory. You kind of have to infer what their backstory is for most of these characters. They're on a mission, and it's a very important mission, and they're supposedly some of the best in their field. Well, I kind of wonder about that, but they are they know what they're getting into, and they all are very driven, and I feel especially Chris Evans is very no nonsense, and we got to get the job done. And there's a lot of times where that could be the villain. Kind of has a military attitude, but I don't feel he's the villain in this one. And I wouldn't say he's the hero either. I would say Cillian Murphy, who thought up this whole plan basically, and the physicist who invented the payload bomb that's going to reignite the sun is the hero. But I feel that there's some natural button heads between some of the more esoteric thinking that's going on and the practical thinking that he's going on. We go, what do we have to do to make this mission succeed? And we're going to do it. Is basically his um, mentality, and I think it works. And I think Chris Evans is um, neither a villain nor the hero you cheer, but he's just a guy with a point of view. And I think it works very well. And I'm happy to see this Chris Evans again. I don't think we've seen a whole lot of him in the subsequent years. Um, but and let me think. I think it's very the Icarus spaceship is very interesting. I mean, there's some shots. I don't know if I ever got a good feel for it, but it's I get the gist of it in the long thing. It's certainly 2001 influence, and I would say Alien also plays a strong influence, especially when they're like sitting around the dining room table and
Yeah.
talking and eating and comparing notes and debating what they have to do here. And um, I think all that. I mean, the story. I think I understand that Alex Garland and Danny Boyle were kind of on two different faces or two different wavelengths for the story. Garland was um, on a wavelength where this is an atheist story and uh, just being religious and going off the deep end is just going to get us all killed. While he was more practical, while I feel that Danny Boyle says, "Well, we're going to talk about touching the face of God in this one," and so I feel there's a little bit of disconnect there, and but I think overall, I think it's very good. I should call out for comment, especially the score by John Murphy and Underworld. I think that's an outstanding score. And I think it helped makes the film work because it's not doing a 2001 riff, I can tell you that, but it's certainly feels like it's from the director of Trainspotting. So that's my thoughts. So why don't you jump in here, Nat?
Yeah, this is the second time I've seen this. I did not see it in theaters, but I do remember like around this time, like 2007, there were a lot of movies coming out then. And this was even in well, especially in July. I guess the first release here was in the UK, but in the US it was released in July. Um, and I do remember like driving to work and just hearing like a lot of talk about it, and I don't hear too much of that anymore. And from my first watch, I really didn't remember too very much about it at all. But this is sort of a thing we were talking a little bit earlier, and I think you alluded to as well, Robert, like how stacked the cast is, like looking
Hmm.
back on it, say almost 20 years removed, as opposed to kind of what it was in 2007, where like even Cillian Murphy probably wasn't that big of a name. Like he
He
hadn't done
hadn't
uh,
done Oppenheimer yet.
he hadn't done Oppenheimer, he hadn't done Peaky Blinders, and also like I'm kind of getting um
He was the Scarecrow in Batman Begins by this point, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And but also this is like 1 year before The Dark Knight too. And
Right.
I feel like that kind of overshadowed. But I mean, yeah, Batman Begins was a big thing at the time, but I think yeah, Dark Knight's kind of overshadowed that now. But it also does on that same wavelength, like uh, at times I'm kind of forgetting, oh yeah, this is a Danny Boyle movie as opposed to a Christopher Nolan movie, because there are a lot of actors that are being poached, or that I guess potentially Nolan poached from that. And also, I mean, with the images of the sun, with kind of this constant emphasis on like yellows and whites and blacks. I mean that is a very significant part of kind of the palette of a lot of scenes in Oppenheimer too. I don't
Hmm.
think I would say that this is probably that much of a direct reference, but there's definitely a very solid aesthetic that they're going for here, and I think that is made use of pretty heavily in Oppenheimer. But no, I think just in general, I pretty much in agreement. I like a lot of the just general interactions between the crew, and I
Hmm.
think generally with this movie gets a lot of criticism for its third act, and I don't have as much of a problem with it, but I do like the more procedural aspects of it. I know that, and we'll probably get into the scientific accuracy of a lot of them,
Hmm.
but I do kind of like how each person sort of has a mission, that there's a sort of process to go through for each thing, how the pecking order is on the crew, and having just finished up our Jaws premium, all primed for people who were in vessels trying
Mm,
to accomplish a seemingly impossible task. Um, but no, I enjoy it. I just it's one of those films where this I feel like this is kind of one of the higher more maybe artsy films or artsy heights to
hmm
which Danny Boyle I think has tried to reach throughout his career, and I do like Danny Boyle a lot. But I don't think it quite gets there, and I can see from that perspective how maybe he gets close to it with the first part of it, but then kind of devolves into more of a thriller aspect in the third act, which may kind of prevent it from potential greatness. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it was quite on that track. But also just want to call it too. I like the idea of a bunch of different nationalities and ethnicities
hmm
populating the crew. Um, I don't, I'm not offended, or I'm not going to be a huge advocate for you know, or complain that, hey, they're two white people who are the main characters here. But no, I like that sense though that it creates a of it being a national or sorry, not national, but international effort.
Yeah, international.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to achieve to achieve this. And there aren't too many science fiction movies, I think, especially ones that deal with space, where I think that sort of idea um is really hit home. So I do like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I feel that aspect is hit harder in, say, the original Star Trek series than it is in the movies.
Hmm.
And, we go way back to the beginning, Ikari XB1.
Yeah, which maybe they stole the name from.
Maybe, maybe they did.
Also, Icarus is a terrible name
It
for a
is a
ship
terrible thing.
that
That
Well,
that's just asking for the mission to crash and burn,
pretty much, yeah.
literally.
I mean, Daedalus would be a way better name. And also just like they're calling it Icarus too. Like you already have a disaster on the first Icarus. And with the religious aspect, I'm guessing that superstitions probably still hold 50 years from now.
hmm
At least within the world of the film too. It seems to take a lot of religious questions or ideas seriously. So maybe maybe don't call your second one Icarus too.
Yeah, Cody, what do you think?
I'm pretty much the same, like on the same page as you guys. Like I remember when it came out, I didn't see when it came out, but maybe so this is might not make a lot of sense to some of the people listening, but like this was one of the movies I remember talking a lot about with on like the Row 3 website, like
Mm,
Yeah.
on their like on their like comment boards and stuff. Like anytime they would mention it on a podcast, like we would talk about it in the comments, and I remember just, reading a lot of good back and forth about that. So that's kind of a weird memory, I think. But I never thought the third act was that far-fetched, to be honest.
Hmm.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll
Like,
say it's not
like,
far-fetched. I don't think it's far-fetched, but
no, but like,
I
I don't
I
feel like it
would
breaks the tone that much either.
no.
Like,
It's very serious all the way through, and there's a religious fanatic you throw him in at the end, fits
yeah,
with the rest of
but
it.
like, I'll try to explain a bit. Like, I do think, and I kind of noticed it more this time, being aware of the third act, but like. They do kind of foreshadow these elements, like when the psychologist is sitting in the sunroom and just basically
Baked.
getting like excited about staring at the sun, right? Like he's just getting
Yeah.
really thrilled or whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it. I'm not even sure what. Like I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be on the ship at all. But that's just me. I also have no scientific skills to offer in this sort of scenario. But so there's that. But like there's like they are sort of hinting at something that okay, humans or some people are have some weird effect with the sun, and they don't really go into it too much. But um, And I do think there's that element and just the overall tone of the film where just things kind of like repeatedly just all of a sudden start going wrong and wrong and just get worse and worse.
Hmm.
In just such like a quick, short amount of time. Like it doesn't seem to me like a big tonal shift. It's just that I kind of wish they would have shown the guy a bit more clearer.
Yeah,
Um,
I wish he got in some sort of debate with either
yeah, and I
Cillian
was
Murphy or Chris Evans, just to have more interaction between them.
yeah, and so like and I was kind of misremembering and almost like putting my own interpretation onto my memory of the film because I was expecting more like kind of back and forth when they talk near the end.
Hmm.
And there wasn't really that much, but I must have just been just remembering all the different things I read about the film, about how this guy, basically went crazy on that ship for like 7 years and um essentially he wants to like sabotage any attempt to blow up the sun and he wants humans to die or whatever, and not survive. So, whatever. But it's almost like I do wish, and maybe this is, not what they intended as filmmakers or as the writer, but like I'm like maybe they didn't want to just explain too much about his motivations, but I think it would have been cool to have some kind of back and forth a little bit like that because he does come off as a bit superhuman too. Like
Yeah.
he's just, his body is in really bad shape and he's able to basically like he's basically like the Joker from Batman. Like he can just do all these crazy things and cause mayhem so quickly. Like he's able to bounce around and
Hmm.
from spot to spot and kill this person and do this with the mainframe and dislodge the airlock and then get on the ship and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So like there is this kind of hint, like I don't think it's the case, but there's this kind of hint that he's super strong or superhuman or he's mutated or something. Like I don't
Hmm.
think the film goes one or the other, but there is this there is this idea that he's more than a human. I like again, I don't think the film is saying that, but it kind of implies that with the plot elements. But um yeah, I do like the film. I just find like I think you kind of said this, Robert, too. Like the characters are good, but but a lot of them don't have much to do. Like I feel like
Hmm.
Michelle Yeoh's character, like she's the lady who's the botanist, I assume,
Right.
and she's creating a garden so that this ship can have self-sustaining oxygen. I'm assuming that's the reason, right?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, and then kind of all like she's kind of like a one-note character. She freaks out when the plants get burned, and she's always in the garden, kind of, like there's not much to her besides that. I'm not sure what Rose Byrne's character is. I assume Chris Evans' character is just like a general engineer, like type, like he's able to fix anything, right?
Hmm.
And then there's the psychologist guy. He sort of has a bit more, um, lines, I would say. And then I did like how they dealt with the comms guy, the guy who I think his name in the film was Harvey, and they make a funny line where he's like, I'm second in command, so I'm in command now because the main captain dies repairing the ship, and they kept like when they got to make the decision about like who's going to stay on to release the airlock, they were like, well, you're not essential, like you're the comms officer, and he was like, well, I'm first in command, but yeah, but you're the comms officer, and there's no communications available, so like we don't need you anymore. Um,
That's not a way to make people or not way to
yeah.
make friends and influence people.
But yeah, but so like in theory, like if he had the same drive that Chris Evans had or that Cillian Murphy had, I guess,
Hmm.
he would offer to stay and sacrifice himself and do the airlock thing. But I feel like the psychiatrist guy was hoping to just die so he could stare at the sun like unfiltered.
Mhm.
Like it's not totally explained that way, but I do think that that might be the reason why, because he feels like, okay, my chance of surviving anyway is bad. Why don't I get, this one final thing where I help my friends out, and then I can stare at the sun and get roasted or whatever. So yeah, I do think the film's good. Like I don't think the third act is too, out there or anything or like it ruins the film. Because I don't know if the film is that procedural, like sort of like a Michael Crichton movie or like story beforehand. Like I feel like it is a bit far-fetched already. So I
Yeah,
don't find it to be that much of a break in it. Um,
I don't know if Danny Boyle would ever be interested in a straight procedural anyhow.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like I don't know if I have a good handle of him as a filmmaker. Like I've only seen r really half of his movies, I would say. All of the famous ones, I would say, yeah. But yeah, it's a strange film. Like I feel like almost every second shot has like some weird effect on it. Like
Yeah.
there's not really a lot of just like, basic standard scenes. Like there's always some weird camera effect or something strange going on. Like so that is cool, but it does get a little tiresome sometimes. But the other thing I was thinking too was, and my wife watched with me this time as well, and she was saying that, and I agreed, was like how he uses CG really well. Like I don't know if other directors use it that that well. Like they just kind of use it because they're obligated to use it
Hmm.
in these big budget action films now. But he's kind of using it, and it just looks cool. Like it doesn't, like, yeah, it looks, I guess, fake, but it just has some just crazy visuals, like almost like a painterly way of using CG. So I think that
It
is,
looks like a Danny Boyle film when they have the CG sequences.
yeah, I guess, like, and I'm not even sure what that means, but like he just kind of uses it really well, whereas I don't
Hmm.
know if, um, yeah, if like other directors are kind of using it like to the best of their ability, like they're just using it to be photorealistic and just think of crazy scenes that you then can execute with CG. But here he's just doing these really good visuals of the sun, of like the spaceship shield and all like the
Hmm.
all the reflections and the final scene when they're on the payload area or whatever that place is called, like Pinbacker is like the camera's all shaky and stuff and kind of fuzzy like that really works. It's cool. Um, Yeah, is there like any sort of parts you guys want to like dive into a bit? Like I think um like maybe just like the general idea of like reigniting the sun. I have no idea if that's is
I
it
don't-
like is
I
that
feel
like a
that feels like a science fiction thing more than a realistic thing. But
yeah, okay.
if you desperate times call for desperate measures. So
Yeah, because like let's say the sun was burning out. Like what would be like our first sign of that? Like just the temperature cooling on Earth?
there must be
Yeah.
some diminishment or something that people know. But I feel if it was going to quit, it would. Well, I guess we're talking about time scales in what millions of years. So that seems like I would not expect it in the next 50, 60 years or whatever the time frame is. But that seems like more what long ways off. But
No, yeah, no, I'm not,
I'm
I'm not
sure
saying
like
like I think it's gonna
yeah.
happen. I'm just
No,
saying
I
like
know, but yeah. I feel like they wanted to kind of reset for a sense of urgency and relatability for the audience, but the actual story probably would be centuries off. It's kind of like we can reignite the sun, but we can't leave our solar system. It seems to be the um, kind of status quo of this film, or at least the idea, which is I'm willing to accept. I mean, I kind of think of this one in relation to Interstellar in some ways, because because Chris Nolan is the big procedural guy, I feel, and I feel that that's probably his most emotional film. Well, Danny Boyle, I don't think of as very procedural at all, but he certainly gets into the impact, and I feel though that religion is something that's uh, Danny Boyle brought up before. What's the one with the saints? Millions. He has that one, but I feel like it doesn't really mix with Danny Boyle in science fiction, but it's something that I think is interesting. I also think that maybe we've not uh, dealt with too early, but I think it's pretty clear that it's going to be a one-way trip fairly early on. Certainly, once they get to Icarus One, I think it's obvious when things go wrong there that okay, it's nobody's getting out of this film alive, which is good from an audience perspective. I feel because it's like, yeah, you know what you're getting into at this point.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Don't get your hopes up too high. But I'm not sure if the statement that Danny Boyle tries to make at the end really makes sense because, you know, touching the face of God or the face of the sun doesn't make a whole lot of sense
Yeah.
in the way that it's kind of literalized here. But I kind of I get the idea.
I think there is a sense of like just the enormity of the sun too, and just like something that is so much more powerful than any human person or group of humans.
Hmm.
That just
Hmm.
like the slightest thing can more or less wipe out the entire crew, and that they are constantly fighting against like this force that is incredibly deadly to them, but also on the other hand is needed to sustain life. And I don't I don't know. They don't quite explicitly state that or kind of get into that, but that is something that I guess is like a theme in every part of the film is basically
Hmm.
you can't get too close to the sun, like and I guess there is a
That's
sort
the
of metaphors
Icarus.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I
so
should.
I read that Alex Garland wrote, like, he got the idea from reading a scientific journal about uh, heat death of the universe, something like
Okay.
that.
Hmm.
Um, and so he just kind of thought like his main thing was that he wanted to create a scenario where like all the fate of mankind rested on one person's shoulder and or like on their actions, and he wanted to like write something that would explore like how that would affect their mental state. And I
They
do
all went
think he
insane.
yeah, so like he kind of does that a bit like with the Pinbaker character because like that guy kind of basically decides that humanity should die, and so that's how he takes it on. Like instead of completing the mission, he decides, he goes crazy. Like maybe he thinks of himself as a god or something because he's been given this responsibility. And yeah, just, drives him completely nuts. But then I don't know like how it really is explored with Cillian Murphy's character. Like I feel like for him, we don't really get to know him that well. Like all we know is that he's pretty good at his job and
Hmm.
like
He
and
does
like
have a
he
sister he
he
sends a
uh
message
just wants
to.
to succeed. Yeah, like he just wants to succeed. Like he's doing things he doesn't want to do, but he's doing them because the mission requires it.
Yeah, and he has family, so he has stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even
Um
if he doesn't get out of this alive, if the mission succeeds, he succeeds.
yeah. But I do think what the movie does explore is like how these different personalities will clash in these scenarios. Like
Hmm.
there's like there's guys like the Harvey guy, like the comms guy, like he knows he's gonna die, like he's not making it back to Earth, but he still insists on not being the one to do the airlock job because
Yeah.
he just doesn't want to. Like he just wants to, hold on to dear life for as many, hours as he has left, but he knows he's gonna die, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
and he dies anyway. Like he doesn't make it back to the airlock.
He misses the airlock
Yeah.
and dies horribly.
Which was that was a crazy scene actually. That was a cool scene. Um, like that's where I really got to like Chris Evans' character in the film, like where he just thinks of these crazy ideas and then he gives the suit to Cillian Murphy and wraps himself in like that like insulation material, but then
Hmm.
his hand gets damaged, right? Like his hand gets frozen in the space.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like that was a cool scene I thought, and I think that was a good way to kind of redeem him a bit because up until that point in the film, he was just a real like I don't know, like he was just a real jerk to everyone. Like even though he was right most of the time, like he was just
All
kind
the
of a jerk.
time.
Yeah, like pretty much all the time, but he was just like annoying to be around. Um, but he did kind of redeem himself there for me. And then obviously when he sacrifices himself in the end to fix the computer, that's a pretty good moment for that character as well too.
Yeah, but I don't know if fixing the computer ever actually accomplished anything there.
So he was doing it so that the Icarus like AI could go back online, right?
I guess maybe buy him some time, but Cillian Murphy still had to launch the payload and get in there and activate the activation sequence. So
Yeah,
I'm not
so
sure
what yeah, so why was he doing
what the
that
pay.
then if like he had to do it all himself? Yeah, okay, interesting.
What else is he gonna do?
I don't know.
That's his
It's
job.
just like ride the nuke with Cillian Murphy or something.
Yeah.
That acts like it's a Doctor Strangelove joke in the making there.
Yeah.
I do think one of the things I did notice is I feel that there's for a Danny Boyle film there's kind of a lack of sense of humor that I kind of associate with him.
Hmm.
This is a very straightforward and serious film, and maybe because it's kind of a military scientific uh, mission, there's not a whole lot of room for that. The people that would be on it are very serious, but I kind of feel that there's some room there to play, or especially when they start getting on each other's nerves because they've been on the mission. I'm not sure if they said how long. I feel it takes at least a year or two to get there,
Mhm.
and so I feel like it doesn't. It feels like it's one of the atypical Danny Boyle films. I mean, I know he can be serious, and uh, but even so, I feel like most of his films have a good dash of humor in them. I mean, you look at Trainspotting, which has both dead babies and a lot of humor in it. So
Yeah. And especially like just the fact that everybody more or less is going to die, that there would be somewhat of a fatalistic attitude towards those sort of things.
hmm.
And humor would be a nice way to deal with that. But yeah, I don't
So
know.
back to some of the science of the film. Some scientists have criticized it because they said that the amount of nukes it would take to reignite a dying star would be like in
It,
the number of like billions of nukes. Like
I
just
believe that.
yeah. So just the so I guess, but like I don't know. Like I'm okay with it being how it is. Like
It's creative license. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't
Oh
I
yeah.
don't believe the science, and I don't think we'll be able to get to put something together like that ship in like 50 years. But that's neither here nor there. It's the story and its themes and morals that count, not necessarily its scientific accuracy.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like I'd like a little bit more of the characters, and I don't know if that's left on the cutting room floor or if they're just what you see is what you get with them. But I
So
feel
yeah, so what I was reading was that there's a lot of subplots that were cut. So a lot of them were like romantic between like Rose Byrne and Cillian Murphy.
Okay, I could see that
which
one still kind of
which
lingering
I'm
there.
glad they didn't put really in there.
Yeah.
I think that would have been kind of dumb. And they did have a little bit of humor, but then they cut it out just because they felt like it kind of broke up the momentum of the film and the tone a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm okay with how it turned out. I just think that yeah, because there is a bit of a large cast and um, yeah, some characters don't get as much time, but I do feel like the ones that are the main players, like you do learn a bit about them just through how they behave. So
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, Mark Strong's character is kind of the weak link as far as you need to know more about him, or he just can't explain himself in an exposition dump. Um,
yeah, like something that would have been cool is like if they would have upon exploring the other ship, they would have got into some like, diaries or whatever, like, like video
yeah,
journal logs or
video,
something
yeah, that would
where
have
he's
been.
maybe like you kind of watch them, oh, he's slowly getting more crazy and then, and then in one log he admits like, oh, I decided to kill everyone on the ship or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, because I want the mission to fail. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been, or yeah, something there, or as I said, there's no back and forth ever. There's no debate between the two, him and Cillian Murphy or Chris Evans. Although I feel I know what Chris Evans' argument would be. You're insane. We're gonna stop you. Would probably be
Yeah.
the extent of his conversation. But you feel there's something there that's not quite grasped. And I mean, I like the film, but I don't love the film, and I feel that's something that's there. It's not so much it makes mistakes; it's that it doesn't quite grasp all of its opportunities. I feel.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. So another scientific part I want to talk about was there's a part where Cillian Murphy's character Kappa is being asked to like decide if they should go to Icarus One, and they want him to like, crunch the numbers in terms of like how successful they're going to be with this payload. And I feel like shouldn't they have done that like
Before
kind
they
of like
left,
at
Before,
yeah,
yeah.
like yeah, like at the outset, like maybe say because they do say something like, "Oh, these are all the nukes we have left on Earth. Like we can't like this is the last chance we have. Like we can't get any more or whatever. Can't make any more." But like if they would have like shouldn't they have like done those kind of things beforehand and say um hey, we actually like here's all of our nukes, but it's still not enough. So should we still go and try? Well, I don't know. Um but like because his idea because when he's crunching the numbers, like he says something like oh, like the closer we get to the sun, the gravitational force gets so strong that all my calculations don't mean anything anymore. But I feel like they're already pretty close. That like wouldn't those calculations already be distorted? Like I'm not sure like how that works. Like when you go closer and closer to like a big source of mass.
yeah, I mean,
Like
it'd be
like I do remember reading
relativity.
something from Stephen Hawking where he's saying like a black hole like is so dense that like if you were to look at it from afar or something, like it would look like space is being bent around it
Hmm.
because it's just distorting, and I feel like that might be what they're getting at here, but I'm just not like I just don't know if it made a lot of sense, but I know they had to say, like he had to do something to make it seem like he was doing his homework. Um, but that kind of stood out to me as being a bit of like a sort of like a movie logic
Yeah.
kind of moment.
Well, I kind of feel like there's like a last gasp prayer of of a plan rather than something that they know that would work,
Right, yeah.
which kind
And
of goes into the themes, but still, yeah.
and you would think that they would have, I guess, like some intelligence or recon in terms of what happened to Icarus One. That doesn't
Yeah.
seem to doesn't seem to come up. And
Well, because
that
they say something like, "Oh, yeah, like we lost track of them like when they passed that part of Mercury, right?" And so
mhm.
it's the part where
Yeah.
they couldn't communicate anymore. So it was always a mystery to them.
But you could send a
Yeah.
satellite out or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not even sure if that really exist anyhow, because I'm pretty sure we've done flybys of Mercury.
Really?
So I'm not sure if there's actually a dead zone. I mean, I certainly believe that there's a lot of radiation interference near the closer you get to the sun. So that that rings true to me, but it's still kind of uh, I question it a little bit.
Yeah. One thing I don't think probably makes scientific sense, but I do think looks cool is just the design of the ship from the outside where you have like this big shield.
Mhm.
Yep,
Um,
that
like
was
I do
cool.
think it's like kind of a crazy idea, but I don't mind it. Like it seems to make sense. Like I don't
Yeah,
think it would work, but but it makes sense. Like it's a very simplistic idea, right? It's like we
yeah.
want to protect the ship from the sun's rays, I guess. Yeah.
And it's a good visual reminder too every time you see the outside of the ship how
Yeah.
powerful the sun is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And they use it to good effect sometimes, like when the comm towers get beyond the shade and get
Yeah. Yeah.
destroyed almost instantly, or stuff falls out from the shade and it vaporizes the instant it gets past it. That's a nice little touch.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Benedict Wong, I thought looked a lot skinnier in this film. Like he must have been pretty young.
I that is
It's those
something
Marvel
too.
paychecks.
That is
Yeah.
something where, yeah, like a lot of these people, it's very sobering watching this where like
Hmm.
these are still recognizable people now, and yet 2007 doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Like Cillian Murphy especially, just because we've seen him in like so many things in the last 20 years, looks
Yep.
insanely young. Rose Byrne kind of looks, I think probably looks the
Yeah,
same, or
Rose
at
Byrne
least
looks the same to me. Like she hasn't
yeah.
aged at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
She's very
Michelle
healthy.
Yeoh has.
Michelle Yeoh, yeah, definitely. Chris Evans to an extent. I just think he's like so young in this,
Yeah.
that that it kind of throws you off. But yeah, it is just very strange how different they look, but how far removed it doesn't seem to be from this film, but that we are. So we're all just gonna die, much like the people on Icarus too. Yeah, and again, like Michelle Yeoh, where I guess like she was cast because of Memoirs of a Geisha and Tomorrow Never Dies, but I can't think of that many other things that she did between say like this and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Um,
Well, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but that was before.
yeah,
Well, she would have been in a lot of stuff I like
In
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 her
Hong,
home country. Yeah.
yeah,
oh yeah,
Hong
Um,
Kong, yeah.
but
In
I feel
China.
like she was kind of like a bigger thing, let's say from that stretch of like 97 to 2007, and then kind of
yeah, of course. Oh,
Yeah.
for
disappears a
sure.
little
Yeah.
bit after this,
Yeah.
and then comes bursting back onto the screen. Um, some other things too, just like some of the other films that at least I'm seeing in Wikipedia, being mentioned in relation to this, is Dark Star. So apparently the name of Pinbacker is taken from Dark Star, which
Okay.
Robert, what episode number was that for our
I
podcast?
don't know, but I can look it up.
Okay. And I guess Cillian Murphy also studied Wages of Fear to get a handle on his character.
That's a good
Yeah, they
reference.
had
But
yeah. Yeah, it's a good
Hmm.
reference. Like yeah, like Sorcerer Wages of Fear. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, you're on a suicide mission. That's a good reference.
Yeah.
Hmm. But I mean, like for that too, I mean, maybe it's just the nature of the mission, but it's not like it's like your destination is the volatile um, thing, not so much like the transport itself is kind of like the threat, right? Like with
Right,
way
yeah.
with
The
wages of
closer you
fear.
get to the end, the more danger you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But,
Although it is, uh, you know, very dangerous from right from the beginning, it very much could fail, especially when you know the previous mission failed.
Hmm. Yeah. And I don't know, like the plant thing, was that big of a thing? I'm not as into the space slash science community as you, Robert, but I know that was like one of the big things in The Martian. Um, but is this kind of the first film that really talks about growing plants in space for harvesting
Silent running.
oxygen?
Well, maybe for oxygen, I think this might be, but I mean, silent running certainly had growing plants in space.
But I mean, like as a sustainable
Yeah,
way of like
yeah,
producing oxygen.
yeah. My understanding is there are some ways to do it chemically,
Mhm.
but uh, apparently you need more oxygen for eight. So I don't know why it was. They could have hand waved it away, I suppose, but
Yeah. Thank God we invented the whatever device.
yes.
Having a garden though on a ship would make it more like comfortable. Like you would feel less like you're on a
Yeah,
ship. I
Mhm.
I feel like, yeah.
I don't disagree. I just feel like they didn't have to. They just chose to.
So would anyone here actually go on like a mission to reignite the sun?
Hell no.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't go
No.
on any missions of any kind. I would never go in a spaceship. I'd never go in a sub.
I mean, for this sort of thing too, like at this point, wouldn't we just kind of like have an AI manned shuttle to do that? Like we
Well,
wouldn't
I
have.
was gonna make a comment about that. Yeah, like so the AI in the ship is called Icarus, right? Um,
Hmm.
that is kind of a character. I don't know though, like I feel like they were trying to make it more of a character and then just kind of just forgot about it.
Yeah, I
Like
feel
because there was a bit of conflict early on where it was like, oh, give me manual control, and then Icarus is like, no, that is not allowed. You're gonna go against the mission, and they have to do some like two-factor authentication with two people to like
Mhm.
override Icarus and stuff. Like,
yeah, that feels like a, a 2001 Alien Mother reference.
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, but they don't really like it doesn't come up later, right? Like it kind of
No,
comes
it
up
doesn't.
that like Chris Evans has to go into the coolant to make sure that the mainframe works so that they can deliver the payload.
No, I
Um,
agree. I agree that they could have done it.
but
Um,
yeah, that would be a ballsy film to make a whole film where everything is an AI and then just have characters. Like a voice like that would be a ballsy way to do a film because then you have to find really good dialogue writers
yeah,
because you're not having actors on screen.
and that would probably. I don't know if anybody would see it, especially if there's no like action scenes in it.
Well, apparently not many people saw this. So,
That's true. I feel kind of,
It
sort
seemed to
of
have more of
downer.
like a life on like streaming and home video.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find what episode is Dark Star, by the way.
that's early in our
It's
podcasting career.
early-ish. Not first year, I know that, but
No. I'm gonna
we
say
we did it with Barbarella,
2017.
so should be easy. I just kind of scrolling through the list here. But it was early-ish. It was certainly the like, first 50, I
First
believe
50
there.
years of
Anyhow, I'll keep looking. You guys keep chatting.
Mhm. Well, also, are there other alternative ways to develop sunlight or get the sun? Uh,
to
like
reignite.
not necessarily reignite, but more or less like cope
Oh yeah.
with the sun going out.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if instead of reigniting the sun, you just kind of like of the wandering Earth seemed like to be the other alternative. Why don't we just move the Earth someplace where there's a good star?
Yeah.
Well, that seems really hard. Like it seems like Interstellar idea
This
is
seems
better.
really hard too.
Yeah.
Interstellar seems the most practical idea of the bunch. By the way, it was episode 26 with Dark Star,
Okay.
Oh wow, that was our first year. Hmm.
second year. Well, third
Second
year,
year.
actually. Being in the
Yeah.
third year.
Oh right,
Well,
because we do one a month. Duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. It's we just do a lot of bonuses like around this time.
Yeah.
Right. Um, Obviously the other comparison movie is Event Horizon, which I'm going to pick at some point for the podcast.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen that one either,
I
but
haven't either.
I've been meaning to pick it like 5 years ago, and I keep forgetting.
I think we're all kind of waiting for that lost footage to be found and a brand new spiffy new edition to emerge.
Huh.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's truly lost footage, unfortunately. But but that does seem like the double feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the
Um,
other end of the solar system too, at the darkest end of the solar system. Maybe not quite Pluto, but it's right out there.
yeah, I actually like that movie. But for another podcast, one of the design elements I liked as well was the suits that they used to go out
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah,
space.
those were nice. Made a whole lot of sense. Look
Yeah,
practical.
like they looked
2001,
really
but
beefy.
yeah.
They looked really beefy. I would feel comfortable wearing those. Like there's a big space, like space for your head. Um, they look very retro. They look
Yeah,
very at once functional but stylistic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
a really cool choice. I
That
thought.
gold foil color to it looks just sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
And
like the rectangle visor, like
yeah.
Yep.
which looks way too small, but you'd want it to be like that so you don't get your face blasted with sunlight.
It's like, yeah, if the Cybertruck were a suit.
Yeah.
No, I like that too, and I feel like that's one of the things where like I'm happy to suspend disbelief or at least extrapolate and say, okay, well, they just have to reinforce it so much, given that like at any time they may need to use it, however close they may be to the sun. Like it just has to
hmm
be super reinforced to absorb the sunlight and the heat and the gravity.
hmm
But yeah, no, I really like that design as well.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't go over to the other ship with a whole bunch of space suits though now that you bring it up.
Hmm.
Because who knew what the atmosphere was going to be like in the Icarus? We knew it failed somehow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Why don't you go over there in suits just to be sure? But whatever. Not a big deal. Not a deal breaker.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I really have that much more. I mean, I could debate, but I feel like there really doesn't leave a whole lot of room for debate, especially with kind of the code at the end where we see everything worked out for the people on Earth. So all the sacrifice was worth it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I, that's something maybe I'm a little disappointed in is that it didn't
Mhm.
really evoke that many questions
No, I
on
don't
my
think it
end.
did.
Yeah. And you think of like some of the movies where it's like channeling or at least like inspired from, and I don't know if it's like really actively trying to like not weasel, but kind of elbow in its space but among films like Solaris or 2001 or what have you.
hmm
But it was something where I think it's trying for something of like some more cosmic significance, and I'm yeah, again, not quite sure if it's kind of raising a lot of questions about where we are or where we're going, we should be doing.
What we
Basically,
should be valuing.
all those things that come from the monologue of Stonehenge and Spinal Tap. But
See, I feel like that kind of stuff, like there's not much there in the film. There are characters, like it's more about characters who are trying to think through those things, but the film itself is not raising those kinds of questions.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the psychologist or the psychiatrist rather, yeah, he sort of, implies that there's something special about staring at the sun, and then, there's the Pinbacker character who has a god complex. But ultimately, it's like a sort of man on a mission film, or like people
Yeah.
on a mission
Mm-hmm.
film with some, I guess you could say, like some wacky personalities involved.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not like Solaris or 2001, where there is, like, I guess you could say, like a fantastical component. Like, like
No,
where Solaris, it's about a planet who can read your unconscious, and then 2001, it's about like aliens,
Mhm.
moving humans through time with monoliths, and then the
and
main character
evolution, yeah,
becoming a star child. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, like that's where I think, and I would have been okay if this film was, had something fantastical like that, but it's just the premise was more of men on the mission. But then I think Danny Boyle wanted to sort of get across a lot of other stuff with the way he filmed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the plot or the story, I guess you could say, like, was supporting that so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel Pinbacker is an opportunity for a fairly grand statement. But
Yeah,
ultimately I feel like his motivations, his character, his presence is more to set up like that third act and make it more like a chase. So it's more in service of the plot than something that is meant to like be a counterpoint potentially to like the beliefs or actions of the Icarus 2 crew.
Hmm. I mean, I feel like the only thing that's really fantastical is, Cillian Murphy touching the face of the sun at the end. I
yeah,
mean,
but isn't that just like kind of like more of like
yeah,
a suggestive,
yeah,
symbolic thing?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
So, but I feel it's a symbol, but it only works as that's a symbol. It's not literal.
Again, just like Oppenheimer.
I feel Oppenheimer has more questions at the end,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like this makes a statement and it ends with a period, not a question mark.
Yeah. And again, I don't mean to sound like I'm ragging on the film. Like I
no,
do
no,
like the
yeah,
film.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, maybe I like space movies that like basically space is kind of an excuse to like raise things or put people in
yeah,
Hmm.
environments that
Yeah.
can raise those questions as opposed to like space being space and just the sheer vastness of it. And the
yeah, yeah.
scale of the sun.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly feel it gets the scale and power of the sun. It makes that abundantly clear, and I think that's just for that alone. I think that's a good an example of what film can do.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I do like the idea that light is something. It fills a space, while black is kind of an emptiness of space. So the light is invasive and gets everywhere and has a presence.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And I feel that's an idea that's communicated pretty clearly and makes sense of most of the visual stylings that Boyle gets across.
Hmm.
I'm a bit surprised we haven't talked about Alex Garland's other science fiction films as of yet.
As of
Uh,
yet,
yeah.
heck, I'm surprised we haven't tossed Dread into one of our summer specials.
Oh, because he wrote it, right?
He wrote it, and
Yeah.
s- supposedly he took over directing in post-production.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get to Alex Scotland. I mean, uh, I'm eager to discuss Annihilation one of these days.
Yeah,
Heck,
I like
I'm
all of
surprised
his
we.
movies like to some extent. Like I like some more than others, but I think for me, like he's a director where and a writer, I guess, who if he's got something coming out, I do want to see it.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't done a zombie apocalypse film and not before now
Well,
either.
because Angela hates zombies.
Yeah, but we don't have to have Angela
Ouch.
on.
Didn't we do didn't we do Day of the Dead?
We did not.
No.
Oh,
We have done none of the Romeros, and we certainly haven't done 28 Days Later.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that. Okay. Okay. Oh, maybe I mentioned Day of the Dead when we did our top 50s. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, I would. We could always debate whether they're actual science fiction films. I think Night of the Living Dead certainly uh, plays it both ways. Like
Mhm.
we have an explanation, maybe, but maybe not. And there, that could just be a big coincidence. But we'll get to that when we get to that one day, I think.
Okay, cool.
But
Um, yeah, Alex Garland also has that TV show called Devs, which is a pretty good sci-fi, I would say.
mm, I certainly thought about we must have discussed Annihilation in relation to Stalker when that came out. Uh,
I don't remember if we talked about Annihilation.
I don't either.
well, it's certainly related.
Oh, missed that chance, I guess.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
recall.
my wife loves this director, like, or she loves Alex Garland films, so she was really happy to watch this
Nice.
for the podcast. Yeah.
What was Sarah's take on this, Robert?
She did not watch it with me.
Oh, okay.
That was like I got to sit down and watch it. She had other things to do, so I'm watching it.
Fair enough.
I was kind of behind on my homework here, but it did get done before the podcast, so here we are.
Yeah.
Usually, I like a little bit more time to ruminate on something after I've seen it, but regardless, time was a ticket.
Yeah, well, that was my bad because I was changing around the schedule.
The mission needs to be accomplished.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the next film, Robert? You're picking.
Yes, I am picking. Um, we're going to have returning guests if our schedules work out. Paul Herman said he would return, so I am thinking of well, we're going to be watching Kogonada's After Yang, which is very recent. I don't know if either of you have seen it.
I don't even know what words you're saying.
Well, then you're going to be in for surprise.
What are you saying right now?
The director's name is Kogonada,
Yep.
Okay.
and the film is named After Yang, and it stars Colin Farrell.
Yeah, we were thinking you were having your own event horizon there, Robert. So
Yeah. I was like, Robert's having a pinbacker
based on
moment.
Saying Goodbye to Yang by Alexander Weinstein.
I don't believe that is true, but
Okay, I've never heard of this movie.
it's very recent. It's like in 2001 or 2002.
20,
2021?
2021. 2021. Sorry,
2021. Yeah, 2021.
2021.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Well, okay, here you go. Box office 729,000. This sounds like a stinker, Robert.
Well, according to Letterboxd, Robert has already seen this.
Oh,
Yes, I have.
And I'm not going
And
to tell you what he said or his star rating.
that's good. We can leave our listeners in suspense, or they can follow me on Letterboxd. And anyhow, it's I brought Paul Herman's coming because he has an adoptive Chinese daughter and that kind of or Asian daughter, I should say. I don't know if she's Chinese, but anyhow, the adopted daughter of another ethnicity plays an important part in the film, so he's going to be discussing that with us.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah,
has he seen this movie?
he had never heard of
Oh, okay.
it. You guys have never heard of it either. Although Kogonada has a big film coming out next month with Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie in it.
Ah,
Well, what is that one called?
a big, bold, beautiful journey.
Yes, that's
Hmm.
correct.
Nice.
And he's also directed Columbus, which you may have heard of or may not have, probably not, with Lou Richardson in it, and I think John Choi or John
And
Cho, I
Parker
think
Posey.
Parker Posey. Yep.
Huh.
So
All right.
we'll be discussing that, and I think we'll have an interesting conversation. Although it's not an action film or a genre film necessarily, unless science fiction is a genre.
Yeah.
So that should wrap up this episode. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at skyespodcast@gmail.com or leave us a note on Facebook. Also, feel free to share a link on social media. Thanks for listening, and we hope you join us next month for After Yang. Bye.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Watch the skies everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.